Cool. Welcome to Rock Bottom is the New Normal. We have Alyssa here. Alyssa is, what is it, Off the Claw on your social medias?
Yes, off the claw. That's me.
Dope ass name.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
I watched a lot of your videos today, and I have to say that it's just like, because you've been sober over a year now, right? It's like May 26th last year.
Yeah, that was the when I had my last drink, May 26th, 25. And so May 27th was my year sober date. And I just hit 13 months, 400 days, just like the other day. So still going
Fuck.
strong.
Yeah. That's awesome. Great job. I know
Thanks.
it's not easy. It's not an easy task. Um, but what I really liked about all of your stuff is you just like don't sugarcoat any of it. Like you're not like, oh, as soon as you get sober, like sobriety fixes everything. You're so much happier in sobriety. Cause like you're not. Like no one is. Like sobriety fucking sucks.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's really been like something that I have like not like intentionally, kind of unintentionally, just shared my raw, real, vulnerable journey with it as I've gone on. Because you're totally right. Like I think we all like to think that sobriety is gonna like fix everything overnight. You're gonna feel better like right away, and it's just life will be just way better. And though that's true, um, man, there's some like trials and tribulations, especially as the time goes on and like life shit starts popping up, and you're really forced to like really deal with it in sobriety. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like I think that because everybody's like, yeah, like, active addiction is so bad and everything. But in active addiction, like, you're not in your feels. Like, you don't actually feel the weight of certain scenarios how you should feel it. And then, especially in your first year of sobriety, like, you feel that weight like tenfold in just like day to day activities. Like you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna have cereal," but like, "Oh my god, I'm out of milk." Like this is the worst thing that's ever happened to anybody in the history of anything.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of had like one of those moments this afternoon where I'm like, just the like little things of life start bugging me, and I'm like, where it's like it's just all feels right on the surface. That's always how I describe it. It's like everything is just on the surface now. Like it feels like it's right here, like the
Yeah.
good, the bad, the ugly. Um, yeah, and kind of speaking to what you said in terms of like feeling, not really feeling everything when you're in active addiction, and then it kind of all like coming to the forefront. Like ironically, in active addiction, I was feeling a lot while not thinking a lot. So it was like my feelings were hyper intense because like I was under the influence and just
Yeah.
all over the place. And so it's been an interesting it's been interesting because though I think I handle things so much better in sobriety, like my emotions are much more controlled. They're so, like the clarity of them is the thing that kind of took me by surprise.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's one of those things that I think people don't expect. And I think that's almost like a big reason why people like derail sobriety, why they relapse is they expect it to just be like super perfect right away. And then it's absolutely not. Like it's almost messier.
A little bit. It can be. Yeah. I feel like learning to deal with your emotions and sobriety and like just your thoughts and your feelings and all the shit that pops up, like sitting with it and dealing with it surely is not a linear path in terms of like, oh wow, I'm just handling everything so well. And it's like sometimes I am not my best self in sobriety. And I like to say more times than not I am, but like oftentimes it's I'm trying to take everything as like a learning lesson really in this time, good, bad, ugly. And so approaching it like that is helpful. But yeah, surely not always my best self, and that's been a hard kind of pill to swallow in sobriety. Is realizing that not everything that needed fixing, though alcohol like exacerbated it, a lot of stuff that still needed work like was just me. I'm like, I just needed to still work on stuff, outside of sobriety. Obviously just had more clarity now to be able to face those things and understand what those things even are.
Yeah. Yeah, like, when I was in active addiction, like, me being an asshole, like, me being just, like, not the best version of myself to other people, I always had that crutch to be like, I'm just fucking drunk. Like, I'm just drunk all the time, like, I'm just on drugs, like, you can't blame me. But
Yeah.
then after I got out, I continued to just be, like, not a good guy all the way around, and I was like, "Well, I thought it was, like, the drugs and alcohol, but, like, I guess I have to actually have to, like, work on myself," which was fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. There was, I was definitely not unaware that there was plenty to work on outside of my alcoholism. I think the biggest one being like my executive function was such shit when I was an alcoholic. I mean, I was really in a bad way in terms of drinking in the morning and drinking just all day long, really kind of off the rails and just lost any semblance of like a normal person's life aside from the fact that I was holding down a job and doing those kind of things. But in that, like, my executive function, doing getting tasks done even with work or with daily things, eating or like hygiene, all took such a bad hit when I was in active addiction, my worst of the addiction obviously. Now that was kind of the first thing that I expected to improve when I quit drinking, and I was really humbled to learn that though it did improve, was not the magic fix, and it's probably been the biggest thing that I've had to focus on the last year in terms of it's like quitting drinking is just the one. It's like the first step to like the rest of what sobriety is, and that's what I really learned in just realizing like, oh wow, I've got lots of stuff to pick up here in being sober now. It's not just the magic fix.
Yeah, yeah, I kinda look at it as, like, because I mean, similar to you, like, I wasted my entire 20s and, like, almost, like, into my 30s. I'm 34 now, I got sober when I was 30. Um, and I just wasted all this time just hustling. I was constantly hustling. My only thing that I was trying to do was get alcohol or drugs. So I didn't actually focus on just like day to day, just like normal adult stuff. Like all of these people like know what normal adult stuff is because they learn it in their 20s. Meanwhile, we pushed it off until now. And so like now I have like a one bedroom apartment and like my bills are paid and I'm like I'm basically like a king here. And then people are like, no, like you should be
Real
like
adult
married,
now.
buying houses, like and I'm like, I mean, I'm like 10 years behind.
I totally can relate in that way. Similarly, 33 and wasted my entire 20s up until like what I was 32 when I quit drinking. I'm the journey started when I was 31 is when I kind of started trying to quit and didn't quite get there until 32. But yeah, same thing, 20s was just spent like, who gives a shit, party on, until the party became not a fun time, and like my whole life crumbled before me. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
no, I've messed up here.
Yeah. Well, so you took what, like a year to try to get sober before it actually stuck?
Yeah, I knew I had a problem for a really long time. Like, I mean, pretty much when I started drinking, I really took to it, and I quickly knew like I like this way too much. And I didn't have a good relationship with boundaries with alcohol, like out the gate. But I didn't come to the place of actually wanting to deal with that until I was probably about 30. And then when I was 31, it was really bad where I was, again, drinking in the morning, drinking all day, every day. I'd been an everyday drinker at that point for like 10 years. There were, you know, yeah, my drinking habits just changed a lot. I'd gone through some really hard life stuff and my drinking habits just kind of skyrocketed. And I was in a car accident um, at
Shit.
the end of like 2023. And that year had just been terrible in general. And so at the end of that point, or it might have been the end of 2024, I want to say, end of 2024, I was in a car accident. I was not at fault. However, I had been drinking while driving when I was hit.
Yeah.
And I was really lucky, and like, nobody was hurt. We were all okay. And you know, everything was fine. But that was a real come to Jesus moment for myself of just like, okay, like I'm really, really lucky that nothing bad happened here. Number one, that it wasn't my fault. Number two, that I didn't get a DUI and that I was able to get away with this. Like that's crazy in terms of just the fact that I knew I was intoxicated in that car. No one else did, but I did. And so at that point, I decided to, yeah, give it a shot in like what, September of 2024, and I lasted like 28 days, and
Yeah.
I picked it back up, and I tried again in February of 2025, and I lasted maybe a week, and then I gave it another shot in May, which was the time that it finally stuck thus far. So
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah. No, it's after you make it, like after you push past like 6 months, then it kind of like all gets a little bit easier. I mean, it's never like easy. Trust me, I'm, over 4 years sober. Like I still fall back. Like I still have days when it's like, I mean, I could. Like, I don't know if anybody would like blame me. But it's definitely easier.
It's definitely easier. I had a really rough go toward like as I got to the year mark of my sobriety. I'd say month 9 to 12 was so rough for me. And I think maybe it was just the leading up to the milestone, like the pressure of like, I'm almost to this big like thing I've built up in my head. And really it's just another day type of a thing. But, it's like
Yeah.
a big thing that you build up in your head. And beyond that, a lot of life stuff had happened like around my 6 month mark of sobriety. Just some stuff like family health stuff came up and stuff like that, that really was like some real life shit where, like you said, no one would have blamed me for picking up a drink. They would have been like totally valid. You know what I mean? Like anyone would have a hard time dealing with this kind of stuff. And that was such a hard time of sobriety too. So I'd like to say that like around the 6 month mark, it got easier for me, but I'm like, oh, that was really like the start of when it got challenging, like where my sobriety was really put to the test. Like, do I really want this enough to like continue? Or am I gonna just be like, okay, I was able to do this, maybe I can moderate, and I know I can't. It's like I would
Yeah, I
keep
was gonna
telling
say that's like
myself this story of like, yeah, I can moderate. Like I can't, you can't bullshit a bullshitter, and that includes myself to me. And so I'm like, yeah. And luckily stuck through with it. So I'd say like the last month has been way better for a multitude of reasons. But I will say that first like 30 days was definitely, a grind. I feel like looking back, like every single day, you were still so close to your last drink that now I feel like I'm so far from my last drink. It would be a choice. You know what I mean? I'd be making that
yeah,
choice if I ever wanted to be like, yeah, maybe I could, and I just can't. I'd be so mad at myself for that choice. So,
yeah. That's a good way to look at it for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, the first month was always it was just like the draw, like it just like dragged on. Like every single day just dragged on. And you're like,
dragged.
I remember looking around and I was like, no one has fun all the time. Like, why the fuck are we even doing this? Like back when I was drunk, like even if it wasn't a fun situation, I was like, I was still having fun.
Yeah, I know, straight up. I was always having fun at going to the grocery store, the post office, wherever I was. I had been pre-gaming it, and I was having a great time. It's it was the boredom truly of that. It was like because I was so used to creating this stimulation in my head with alcohol that the boredom is like it's like a smack in the face. I think that's probably initially what gets most people beyond like life starting to life, that where
Yeah.
it gets really tricky is the boredom like factor totally can mess you up real early on if you're not like strong in your conviction of wanting to quit. I mean, I remember that first week, first 2 weeks, I got so much done. I cleaned every inch of my apartment. I got my car serviced. I had anything that was out of stock in my house, like soap or random shit. I went and restocked it. I mean, I was out and about running errands, like keeping busy to just stay not bored because I knew boredom would be my biggest hurdle initially. And
Yeah.
I was real busy for a hot minute. And honestly, I still stay busy for the same aspect. If I'm too bored, like it's a dangerous place for me.
So I was thinking about this the other day because I mean, like, I meet a lot of people, I bartend, and a lot of people are always what do you like to do outside of work? Like, what do you do for fun?" And I'm like, "I don't do anything." Like, I really enjoy just, like, sitting on my couch with my dogs and, like, watching TV. And
Yeah.
they're like, that sounds really boring." And in my head, I'm like, "Yeah, that does sound really boring." And I was like, "Am I, like, in Stockholm syndrome where, like, boredom has, like, taken control of me?"
No, but it's peaceful, because like I can relate to that as well. Like though I like to stay busy in my day to day, just like, doing my like routine stuff of like making sure that I have routine and like, the executive function thing, trying to make sure
Yeah.
I'm taking care of myself. There, like the rest of it is honestly spent same thing, just hanging out with my dog, like doing that kind of stuff. And it is so peaceful. And I was having that conversation recently, like things right now don't feel that like sticky, let's say, like it's just kind of like one day blends into the other sometimes and it's just chill. Like nothing is really, it's just life and that like not a bad thing. But I was thinking back, like why does nothing feel sticky? And I realized that sticky feeling I'm used to is just like chaos. Like I'm just
Yeah.
like the stickiness I'm thinking is just me doing chaotic shit or like blowing my life up the minute that it feels comfortable or stable or something, or causing problems that don't need to be problems just because I'm feeling some kind of way, more or less
Yeah.
like what I would do in my alcoholism. So, um, yeah, the boredom is nice, whether it be like a Stockholm syndrome of our own making or not. I'm like, it's kind of nice though. I'm like, never been more at ease.
Yeah, when people they're like, "Oh, like that sounds like a pretty boring life," and I'm like, "You know what? Like I've kind of earned it. Like I've
Yeah.
like earned a boring life. Like when you were doing, like it's like, hey, Mark, when you were like going to bed at 9:30 at night so you could be up at 6 in the morning, like I was blowing lines of what I thought was cocaine, but it was actually like meth.
Oh, we've
Yeah.
all been there. Like that's a rough realization when you're up for the next 38 hour, 36 hours or whatever.
Yeah, so like we've like earned a life of boredom, like because it's peace, it's safety, it's consistency
Yeah,
that I think other people take for granted.
totally. I think 100%. Something I had no idea. I never lived this kind of life even before my addiction, a life of just like kind of just chill, peace, just again, consistency and stability and things I've been able to build for myself now, which feel even better. So, like I said, we've earned it. We've earned it.
So you would drink like morning through day through night. How are you able to like keep a stable job?
Yeah. Your guess is as good as mine. So first I should say my drink of choice was White Claw, hence the name Off the Claw. I was an alcoholic before White Claw came onto the scene, but boy did White Claw make it easy for me to just ramp things up. It was the taste was, to my liking, and it wasn't as filling as beer, which had been previously like my drink of choice. So with White Claws, there was no boundaries. It was like they're so easy to drink. It's like a morning beverage. It's an all day beverage for me, and so I, yeah, I would drink. Morning till early evening and kind of just let it taper off right before going to bed. So in terms of maintaining a steady job, I worked in sales for the last 7 years. And, I was able to do what was asked of me and show up, you know, like stable enough where people hadn't noticed or didn't say anything. And in getting sober, I've since talked to previous coworkers of mine and asked, like, could you tell that I was drunk? Like, because I was. And people have genuinely told me no, which is shocking to me because I look back at pictures and I'm thinking, how the hell did you not like see it all over my face? I was surely not looking totally great, but I could show up and be, I'm like good at my job. I'm kind of like, it was just second nature type of thing to go in and sell and present and keep it together. I wasn't going in totally like shit faced, I was going in tipsy and, making my pitches or doing it on the phone or whatever. But I was, in my team meetings while drinking. I was in, doing all these things, just always informed by alcohol. So
Yeah.
I was just really lucky that I didn't, I hate to say it, like get caught. I'm still with that same job. And so, at least the one that I had when I quit drinking, which up in that point, like there was a year of that job that I worked entirely drunk. So,
Yeah.
um, I did a good enough job not to get fired, but I definitely could have been doing better.
Yeah, I mean, I was bartending, and so, like, I don't know, it's almost like people, like, expect their bartender to be, like, a little inebriated, or
Totally.
if, like, someone sees their bartender, like, taking a shot or something behind the bar, like, no one ever thinks twice, which is crazy. That'd be like going to a bank and seeing the teller, like, rip a fucking shot and be like, "That's just day-to-day teller stuff," you know?
You're like, that's just Dave. You're like, it's a
Classic Martha back there.
classic. I mean, it's true. I always would never think twice if my bartender was drinking. I'd be like, of course, like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and then I ended up getting out of the industry for a second. It was around COVID, and I was, like, a half gallon a day drinking. I'm, like, full chemical dependency. I'm fucking shaky all the time. My neck's fat. I'm a fucking mess. I had a fiancé at the time. I have no idea why the fuck she was with me. Just a total mess.
Yeah.
And I got a job, like what was I selling? I was selling something over the phone. I don't even remember what the fuck I was selling. And I like go in to this office space and there's a bunch of fucking cubicles and it's just me and like the guy who hired me sitting next to each other at these cubicles, even though there's like 40 of them.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, why the fuck is this guy sitting so close to me?
Yeah. You're
But
like,
my
am I in a TV show right now? What's happening?
I had like a lunch box and it only had Gatorade bottles in it that were filled with vodka just to get through the day. And he was like, "Oh, it's lunchtime." And I was like, "Oh yeah." I don't know, in my head, I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna tell this guy I don't have food.
Yeah.
So
You're
like,
like, oh,
oh yeah, I don't really eat during the day to keep up my, my figure. And then I like made this guy feel bad that he's like eating during the day. Meanwhile, I'm just like a fucking trashed out alcoholic.
yeah, no, I can relate to that very well. I remember often not eating when people would go like eat, they'd be like, "You're not hungry," and I didn't have the heart to tell them, "Well, I've had like 6 White Claws and I'm full." Thanks.
Yeah, I'm actually like if I eat, I might throw up.
Yeah, yeah, it's I definitely feel that. Again, I was at the point where I was drinking while driving often. Not and there's no good way to put that. Like I'm really
Yeah,
ashamed of
no,
that. I'm like
I
it's just
totally get it.
that's where we were. And so I again before going into meetings, like rolling up with a tall can in my cup holder, and just kind of putting it to the side and going in, doing my pitch, making a sale, getting back, go buy another White Claw, rinse and repeat kind of a thing. And, I was also taking a lot of anxiety meds around this, like towards the latter part of my addiction.
Yeah.
And so then I wasn't remembering anything that I was doing in those meetings. It just became messy real fast. And I like was blacking out like all day, every day. Not like in a bad way, but just to where I had my memory was shot. It was not a great time at all. It was again, I'm grateful that at least A, my company was patient with me, or B, they didn't notice. But I
Or you
sure
were so
was
good at
not
your
always
job.
Or yeah, hey, that I'm just that good at my job. I don't know, but I not always the case. I had job hopped a lot, and towards when my addiction started really ramping up, like I struggled to keep work. I definitely popped around quite a bit, and so part of my part of me wanting to get sober was honestly not like because life had started getting better by this point of May 2025, and I didn't want to screw it up. I'm like, I have this job, they like me, like I'm like, they haven't noticed that I'm fucking around. I don't want them to notice and like screw up my life again. And I had my own place by that point, and things had kind of gotten better because my whole life had fallen apart like a couple years prior to that, where I had lost everything. And as I rebuilt my life, I was like, the last thing that needs to go is the drinking, because otherwise I'll lose it all again. And so I was at that point of like, okay, it's time to get it together. Otherwise, this will all go away and I'll be really mad at myself.
That's like super fucking self-aware though.
Yeah.
Like that's huge. Like a lot of people don't. I still don't have that even in like full sobriety. Like I don't really I struggle with self-awareness, but like especially back then, I thought it was everything else and then alcohol. Like I was doing whatever alcohol would tell me to do.
Hmm.
And it took me actually like ending up in the ICU, like heart stopped, all of it for me to be like, yeah, I think I should probably quit.
You're like, it's probably time to give her a rest. Well, glad you're all right. That's scary.
Yeah.
I was really lucky to not have any moments like that, like again, where I got a DUI or where like I got like was in some serious medical situation. Like I was at a point where my liver was starting to kind of hurt a little bit. I was
Yeah.
extremely inflamed. I hated the way I looked. Like there was a lot of things about my physical situation that was not great, and I didn't feel good. And like I mentioned, I was taking all these anxiety meds. That just I was really worried that I was going to like atrophy my brain. I'm like, I can't remember anything. I was struggling to get piece sentences together at that point. I was on a really high dose of the anxiety meds, and I was drinking like a lot of White Claws every day. And so
Yeah.
I was just not, my brain just felt like mush, and I was like, I can't continue to do this at all, because I don't want this to become my life. Like I was very aware it was like kind of now or never. It was like, this is going to be your life, and I've got a lot of addiction in my family, and I've seen where this goes, and it doesn't go anywhere good. And I really didn't want that to be how my story ended, because I know I have a lot of potential. Like I'm someone who's always known I've got a lot of potential, but life got to me. Life was hard in my 20s, and it was really, really hard. There were so many different things that I think most people don't go through, and mine were almost compounded. And as we hit, like 2022, life got really brutal, really super, super brutal. So, like I had said, like I hit a rock bottom almost like, 3 years before I decided to quit drinking. In fact, the only way I got through my rock bottom was because I was drinking. I don't think I would have even made it had I not leaned on alcohol in that point. I had lost a long-term relationship. I had lost my apartment. I had lost my job. My dog died. I broke my foot. I had gotten in a car accident, which totaled my car. Like everything imploded just at once. When I'd lost my apartment, I was not able to find housing immediately. I had to sell off all my furniture and move back in with my mom, who lives in a remote mountain town. So I was out in like the middle of nowhere when I'm used to, living in Los Angeles. That's where I'm born and raised. And
Yeah.
so just a lot of changes like in a very short period that were extremely stressful and really kind of took me to a brink of what I thought was no return. Like there's no way I can come back from this. People around me were deeply concerned. A lot of people didn't think that there would be much coming back for me. Like I was kind of off the rails in a big way. And yeah, so I was able to get it together, within a year or so to, again, kind of start rebuilding the pieces of my life. Like I had mentioned, get the apartment, a job, a thing, like maintain stability and build on that. but I was just still such an alcoholic. And I was like, man, this doesn't feel as good as it could because I know that I'm still kind of like a piece of shit and I drink all day. And, again, my bosses don't know. And like people in my life don't really know how bad it is. And I don't want to have to like, pregame my niece's soccer game. You know what I mean? She's like
Yeah.
6. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. It's like those kind of things where I'm like, I need to put this down because if I need to drink before everything in my life, like, I already knew there was a problem, but I'm like, man, there's a big problem. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that makes sense. And I've learned just in sobriety that, I mean, like everything feels like, because everything like explodes all at once. It seems like whenever a little thing explodes, like a bunch of other things kind of explode. Like that's just, I think, us being tested.
Yeah.
But like I remember like active addiction, like, that explode thing would happen and then I would just shut down. Like I'd be like, life's over. Like how am I gonna come back from this? I mean,
Mm,
like what you went through where it was like, I mean, that's a lot of really bad shit to happen all at once.
yeah.
Um, but I learned that in sobriety, when that happens, like as recovering addicts, we're so much more equipped to be able to look at the like this whole fucking explosion and then be able to pivot and
Hmm.
figure it out. Like just a few months back, I got my car repoed, which was like fine. I was paying like $1,200 a month for a fucking car, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Um,
It's brutal.
my aunt got diagnosed with like severe ALS.
So sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it sucks. But like all and then like a few other things happened and I like pivoted on all of them. And then I was able to like come out stronger and like more leaned on by my family than I ever have been. And like I can only thank active addiction for that. Like I can only thank my like past in active addiction to be able to, because I just went through so much shit, because alcohol and drugs make you do terrible shit that puts you in terrible situations you have to fucking get yourself out of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a great way to put it. Like that. That's kind of like what prepares you to go through those hard times in sobriety. And I can definitely, I echo that statement very much so because at the beginning of the year, I had mentioned like there was some family health stuff that had gone on, and my mom was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's at the beginning of the year. And since then, we've had a kind of a different diagnosis and things have evolved. But like at that point, that was a really heavy
That's
diagnosis. My
fucking
mom,
heavy. Yeah.
yeah, she's young. It's not like she's an older woman. Like she's like not even 60. So it was a lot. And that that was very much a moment of me sitting in the lot of the liquor store near my house where I still buy water and like sparkling water and stuff like that. But like I
Yeah.
was sitting there being like I could go in and just like fuck it, like I've put in a good run and it's like life this is like life is hard right now and I don't know if I can do this, and the emotions were so incredibly intense to go through something like that and not have alcohol to lean on, which I would have I've leaned on anything hard in my life like that has been, alcohol has been there. And so to pivot, like, and to not drink was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I spent like 3 times a day for weeks in my bathtub just sobbing. Just I was like that's all I could do was like retreat to the hot water. Anytime I felt like I was like, oh, I'm gonna give up, like just get in the bath, like just get, I don't know why. And it got me through and I didn't drink. And, you know, I think anyone would have again been like, hey, dude, we understand, all good. But I just knew for me, like you said, to show up for my family at that point would not do them any good to be like, oh shit, Alyssa's off the wagon, and we got to deal with this now. Like that wouldn't
Yeah.
have been good for anybody. So it's proven to me again, just the resilience that I already knew I had. Like you said, when you're in active addiction and shit is just off the rails, and if you've blown up your life a couple times, or if you've ever blown up your life and you've been an addict, like the You really, it's very humbling. You really have to kind of like sit with a lot of feelings about like who you are, what you did, and how you've affected other people, whether you've sat with those feelings or not. Because obviously, it's like if we're in addiction, we may not sit with those feelings till later. But
Yeah.
but that definitely, after going through all the things I'd gone through when I lost kind of everything, and thinking I couldn't survive it and surviving it and getting through some of the hardest days of my life, the darkest days of my life, did set me up to be able to sit and deal with the next darkest days, which would have been around, that diagnosis. And, you know, it's like finding the coping tools that whatever works, I think, at those points, and pivoting, those things are so important. And sometimes they make no sense. With sometimes, again, if it's 3 times in the bathtub for one day just to like, sit
Yeah,
and like
whatever it
die in
takes.
the hot water, whatever it takes. Sometimes, I mean, shoot, sometimes I've bought a 6 pack of non-alcoholic beer and just drank it for the taste, to feel like
Yeah.
to feel something, and it's that kind of a thing, like leaning on tools that I are not a part of my day-to-day sobriety, but that, shoot, have been helpful in the worst of moments. It's like
Yeah.
whatever keeps me sober.
How did it feel showing up for your family in that time, like as a sober person, as opposed to showing up back when you were, in addiction?
Well, I mean, well, first of all, I definitely, when I was in active addiction, would not have been able to show up probably well for my family at all. I was very much a crisis person. I was always kind of in crisis. My emotions were big and heavy and a lot for people to take. And so I quickly became the crisis often. I think that probably would have happened, in just how I'm handling like mom's diagnosis type of thing. And in this instance, it was not about me at all, and in fact, being able to hold space for all feelings that my mom had at that point, like, because she's the
Yeah.
one going through this, and being able to hold space and be able to talk her through some really hard conversations, about what we thought we were going to be facing at that point. And then my sister, who's younger than me, but we're still close in age, being able to, again, just, I felt really like I was able to be strong in those moments, like where I didn't become over emotional, which is not usual for me. I am a very emotional person. So that, I think, was probably the first time I saw myself as like the strong one ever, like in life, but in like sobriety for sure, I was able to show up as like the strong one for everyone else, which
Which
felt
is
good.
fucking huge.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was super
Huge.
huge. And it was, I mean, I think it was daunting at the point to think like, oh God, I don't know if I got it in me to be the strong one like forever here, because this is like a heavy diagnosis, and I could see myself very much all of a sudden being the strong one, which is like crazy because again, I never could have pictured myself being that person, and I was happy to take on that role and always will be from this, as I go forward. But I'm really grateful that some of the news we've gotten since has been a little kinder and is not quite
Yeah.
what we thought initially. So like, things are a little bit better there. But it's yeah, it's nice to be able to show up in a like meaningful way.
Yeah. Super, super underrated part, I think, of sobriety. And I don't know if that's like the same case for everyone. But for me too, like, cause back when anything used to happen when I was in addiction, I think that there was probably like meetings where they were like, who's gonna fucking tell Brian? Like, I don't want to fucking tell Brian. And then like now, I mean, my aunt got diagnosed, and then my mom and other aunt like flew out here and then like asked me to pick them up. Like they stayed at my apartment. I got them to my aunt. Like that was like they asked me to do it.
They're
Which
leaning on
before,
you.
like they would have done they would have asked a fucking complete stranger to do it before they asked me to do it.
That's awesome. I mean, it's, again, bad circumstance, but amazing that you're able to be the kind of, you know, just that strong person in your family's life in such a hard time.
Yeah, no, it's like it's huge. That's
It
like
is huge.
the
And I think it is
biggest.
one of the most underrated or biggest things, unless maybe until you're put to the test like that in sobriety, right? I think until you're really put to a test where all of a sudden you're given the opportunity to be like the strong one, and you see that your family maybe now sees you in a different way in that too, is like, wow, like we've all come a long way here.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's crazy. And I
Yeah,
think that more people who are like looking to get sober need to like wrap their minds around like that's just very small part of the good stuff that sobriety can give you. Is
totally.
like your family sees you in a whole fucking different way, which is crazy.
Mhm.
Cause like most of the time, like families are like biggest critics of everyone.
Totally, totally. It's been one of the more rewarding parts, especially because I had been such a wreck for, a couple of years prior to getting sober, and like I was just such a mess. And we were at the point where my sister was ready to like not speak to me for a little bit, and my family was just deeply concerned, and I lost friends during this point, like close friends, lifelong friends, things of that nature, just blowing
Yeah.
shit up right and left. And to feel like, again, that I've not only gained trust back within my family, but to know that I trust myself too, like let's say even just to show up for my nieces or things like that. I have young nieces, and there was always this insecurity that like I knew that my sister would never really trust me to like hang out with them, without supervision, because there was no secret that I was a mess. And so to like again work through things like those little things where you're like, wow, again, now I'm like a trustworthy person, and I have gained that trust back is huge.
Yeah, no, for sure. I have now I have two nieces and a nephew, but before I had a niece and a nephew, and my brother would have me like I would watch them, and I would be, like I'd like drag myself out of bed to watch them, and I'd be not sober during
Mm,
this whole thing. And it's like, man, he must have been like so desperate, like, or he was just because he believes in me more than like anyone in the world. And so like
sure.
maybe he just like believed that I would like get through it. But
Right. Or
it's
that
just
you
like
were,
crazy to look back on.
yeah, no, that is, I mean, hey, he really, hey, he trusted you, so there's that. But, and same thing, my sister, I had watched my nieces, quite a bit for my sister. At that point, I had not gone off the deep end, and I was able to keep it together for the hours that I was watching my nieces. Like, I was good, but it was one of the things that came to me recently when I was just talking with my sister about my sobriety, and I had said, I'm so like it's hard because I don't have a lot of regrets, but I regret so much that I spent so much time of those early years of my niece's life, being just a drunk, because not that it really affected them too much at all, because I, wasn't a total mess like that, but where I just didn't remember stuff, and it was like, oh, it's such a, it just kind of sucks, kind of a thing. Those like later on
Yeah.
sobriety realizations that hit, when you start to think about all the things.
Yeah, for sure. So your family knows, people at work know, right? That you're now sober.
They know I'm now sober. My immediate bosses, they're not aware of necessarily how bad it was.
Yeah.
I haven't advertised that I was like drinking on the job, though I think it's probably a few of them have an idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I know like I mean that whole thing is I think important in sobriety is like making yourself accountable amongst your immediate, people that you interact with,
Hmm.
because that makes you not want to fall off the wagon even more. Like my first job that I got in a restaurant after I got sober, I like told the owners who like we were like kind of like friends, I guess, but they didn't know how bad it was. And I like told them I was like, this is how bad it was. If I do drink again, if you see me drinking again, if you hear about me drinking again, I'm like, just fire me because it's not going to be good. Like, I'm going to be drunk behind your bar. I'm going to be drunk in your restaurant. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to be a complete fucking mess. And like, just doing that and being honest with everyone as soon as I got sober about, like, if I start drinking again, just fucking get rid of me. Like, do not trust that it's going to be okay because it's not. and that helped me stay sober all the way, even like now. Like I tell people that I meet about like, "Oh, I'm actually sober." I tell people at the bar that I'm working at, if they ask me enough questions, because there's always like the everyone wants to know like what the bartender likes to drink and stuff.
Oh, gee,
And
yeah, of
so like
course.
I'll do like the initial like I'll lie or I'll tell them something that I used to drink. And then if they keep like, hit me with questions, or honestly, if they're just being like if they're fucking douchebags, I'll hit them with it right away. I'm like, "Actually, I don't drink. I'm over 4 years sober. I was a severe alcoholic." And it's, like, really awkward to talk to you about.
Yeah, you're like, I actually don't have a recommendation for you. I'm sober. Thanks.
Yeah, maybe you should go catch a meeting. Maybe that's my recommendation.
Hey, I know that must get tricky as in just in that world to, I'm sure see as I'm sure you see a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure I saw a lot, but I think I, like, saw a lot and then, like, back in active addiction, but, like, I, like, connected with it almost. Like the craziest shit that people would see at a bar would happen, and I'd be like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
you and
man.
me both, right?"
Yeah, I feel that. It's in that same regard. It's I find that I look back at just certain connections, let's say I made throughout my 20s or whatnot, and I as I reflect on how again chaotic some of them were, I'm like, I think I was just like, oh, I'm recognizing myself in other people. It's like, oh, you're chaotic, I'm chaotic. Let's be chaotic together.
Yeah, exactly. Which is
Like
like
that's
never
great.
good.
No, it only like fueled the fire for both of us.
Yeah, accountability is so important. I think you talk about in one of your videos, like just moving your body too. Like
Mhm.
you say that you try to move your body at least twice a week. You don't put that much pressure on yourself, which is huge because I think that people who get into sobriety put so much pressure on themselves to like, become like a fucking gym rat or something. When in all reality, like there's a very specific percentage of the population that can just like fucking work out every day and have 8 packs and are fucking shredded to shit. Like there's a
Mhm.
very select percentage that actually do it. And like
Totally.
that's not all of us. And we can't like put that pressure on us.
No, totally. It's something I had to learn in the beginning was I really was trying to do too much initially. Once I felt better, and I was like, yeah, I feel better. Like let's do the next thing, which is like go to the gym and start working out. And I was like waking up at like 6 a.m. and they're, trying to do it like 4 or 5 times a week, and I just burnt myself out so fast trying to do that, to where then I took a little break. And when I came back, and again, kind of the big arc of my first year of sobriety is really just building consistent routines that are sustainable, something that I can keep up with, because it's just consistency was my biggest issue in addiction. Obviously, it's like who can stay consistent when you're a full blown addict, and then relearning consistency in sobriety. That's been a huge part of it is moving my body, but again, finding like a realistic cadence. And so for me, that's been, like, yeah, like twice a week. And then walking every day. Like walking every day is really, truly like that has just been a consistent. I have a dog, so I walk him, all the time. And I live in an apartment, so we have to go outside all the time.
Yeah.
So that like just was kind of a way to get me out of my own head initially when I quit drinking, and still is an incredible way for me to get out of my own head and kind of just you know, uh, have more productive thoughts if I'm feeling like chaotic or foggy or whatever. But the accountability of showing up, twice a week to go do like harder cardio and some weightlifting has been like the next level of proving to myself I can do hard things. And that's felt really good. But again, I'm not like, I want it to be sustainable. So twice a week, because like trying to do it all at once is great, but you'll burn out so fast. And that's something I realized pretty quick when I was just trying to do all the things and just, in the in the light of feeling so much better and things like that. It's like you
Yeah.
got to take it slow.
Yeah, and if you're only doing it twice a week, if you're not doing it all the time, because I mean, you work a full-time job, then you also stack on an hour or two, 5 days a week of just like working out or like
Yeah.
going to the gym, that's
Yeah.
like a lot of fucking time out of your days. And I think it's super important in sobriety to like have have that time like just for yourself. Like whether that be, like laying by the pool listening to music, or like eating fucking ice cream on your couch, or sleeping. Like sleeping's fucking huge. Like in sobriety, you should just be sleeping all the fucking time because you're
Yeah, no,
trying to
I
catch up.
no, I totally agree. I that was actually one of the things that I was when I had initially started going to the gym and again getting up at 6 a.m., I still hadn't created a good sleep schedule for myself. So I was going to bed at like 2 a.m. and waking up to go work out at 6 a.m. I'm like, well, this makes no sense because I'm sacrificing my sleep to go like take care of my body. But I'm like, just it was such a it was we weren't quite there yet. It was like cart before the horse, where I'm like, okay, all of the intention is there of like wanting to move towards better living, but I need better routine first. So then sleep became, okay, let's prioritize sleep before we're prioritizing the 6 a.m. workout. So now I work out in the afternoons, therefore I can sleep more. But yeah, just again creating the consistency behind routine. I think probably if I could give advice to anyone who's like newly sober, or again in the first year of sobriety, is really just focusing like keeping it simple and keeping it sustainable. Will it does wonders. It really has
Absolutely.
been the thing that gives me the most satisfaction at the end of my day, the most satisfaction just in myself as a person, just showing up for myself consistently every day. And then anything that comes after that is great. It's just like an add on.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I think that, like, year 1, like you said, like, doing it all for yourself, like, being completely selfish. I
Yeah.
think that, like, year 1, just, fuck everybody else,
Yeah.
be selfish, because like, you're trying to rebuild yourself. And then,
Hmm.
like, the years after that, like, obviously focus on other stuff, because you can't just be
Sure.
selfish your whole
Yeah.
life, I guess. At
Yeah.
least that's what they tell me.
It's like rebuilding the foundation of yourself. That's how I've looked at it, is like I needed to rebuild my foundation so I could show up in the world as like a worthwhile human being that's like offering good things to other people, and just the environments around me. It's like if I didn't rebuild that foundation and I just was kind of like operating as like a straw house that could like be blown down at any time, I would be blown down at any time, kind of a thing. That's how I felt, like I was just this like rocky little shack. And so this last year, just like how I view it is like I just been rebuilding my little human house of myself, and now I can go out in the world and be, yeah, like a better human in year 2, year 3, and the years to come.
Human house is a weird thing. I think about, like, just, like, human skin as walls.
Right, yeah, right. This is my human skin house.
Like, someone's just, like, being severely tortured, and
Yeah.
you, like, walk in the front door, they're like, "Please don't walk inside of me."
Oh yeah, you're like, this is just my human sleeve. I feel that.
Um, yeah, great. This was
Great.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I was happy to chat about sobriety, and I'm just grateful to be here. I always used to hear alcoholics be like, I'm so grateful, and I never quite grasped that until I became like one of those grateful alcoholics, and I'm like, I'm just so grateful all the
Yeah.
time.
No, talking about sobriety is one of my favorite things to, like, do, actually. Like, somebody asked, like, who I was as a, because they were like, they were in sales, and they were like, "Are you, like, a different person when you're not bartending?" And I was like, "I mean, like, I'm still, like, pretty fucking funny." But
Yeah.
I was like, the courses are all different. Like, I'm talking about something completely different when I'm not in this building. Like, I'm talking about fucking not drinking alcohol when
Yeah.
I'm not serving people alcohol.
Yeah, right. When I'm
I'm
not
like,
serving it, I'm talking about not doing it.
yeah, I'm like, it's like completely opposite, actually. Like, it's like I'm a teacher by day, but like a prostitute at night.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It totally gives that vibe. That's funny. I know it's like double life vibes,
Yeah.
but hey, who's more qualified to talk about alcohol than someone who's, you know, went pro early, as they say.
Yeah, we were so good at it that we had to retire.
So good at it, fully retired.
Uh-huh.
to never come out of retirement.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not gonna be like Michael Jordan, that's for
No,
sure.
no,
I'm
I'm
not
out.
Tom Brady.
No, yeah, we're out. We're out.
Well, it was great talking to you.
Yeah, it was great
Everybody
chatting.
listening, I don't know how many actually, like, not many people listen to my podcast yet. It's building every day. Off the Claw on TikTok, Instagram.
Yes, Instagram is off dot the claw, but still off the claw. And that's where
Yeah,
you can find me thus far.
yeah. I'll put her links in the bios below, whatever people do.
Wherever
Yeah,
they
no,
go, they'll be there.
this was great. Definitely check her shit out. She's the real one. She's out here telling everybody real fucking stories. She's telling
Thank you.
her how she's telling everybody how bad her days are. People don't do that. Most people in sobriety are gonna tell you that sobriety is fucking great and their life is great. And now they're ripped, jacked individuals who drive Escalades. And it's like, that's not how it fucking works.
It's not how it works. Life still be life in sobriety, and that really rings true and has rung true for many people I've connected with who have appreciated, that I keep it real, and that's why I keep doing it. I'm like, it may be, you know, cringe to cry on the internet, but hey, someone's got to do it. I'm clocked in.
Fucking clock it in.
Clock
Well,
it in.
thank you so much. It was nice to
Thank
get
you.
to know you.
Yeah, nice
Yeah,
to get to know you too.
I will let you know. This will be posted fucking tomorrow,
Great.
actually.
Hey, can't wait.
All right, I gotta go edit some shit now.
Sounds good. Well, I'll be seeing you on the old interweb.
All right, bye.